clap for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Taylor, tell me your deepest, darkest secret that you've never, ever told anyone, or your most embarrassing moment, or introduce the podcast. The choice is yours.
Yeah, I don't really have a secret. As far as my most embarrassing moment,
yay.
One time I would think I was like 12 or 13, so that's like right when you're in that like like you're awkward but you like don't know that you're awkward, so like you're trying to be cool,
exactly. Yes.
And we had like a family that was like friends with my family over for like Christmas dinner, and they had like a teenage daughter, and I like had a crush on her, and we were eating like crab legs, and I swear I was like I was talking, and like a piece of crab flew and like landed on her cheek. No. And I was like, oh my God. And that's probably the most embarrassed I've ever felt in my entire life.
That's horrible.
And to this day, I usually will like cover my mouth when I'm chewing now, like when I'm eating, because I just,
I mean, that's on the face
story.
Too.
I know.
On the face. God. Oh, how sad. And it's Christmas.
Yeah, and it's Christmas.
You're trying to feel like you're hot.
My mom's crying in the corner. She's like, you ruined Christmas for all of us.
You spit that crab on our face. Oh my God.
True. Go ahead with yours, or introduce the podcast.
Sure. Gun to my head. My probably, maybe not one of my most embarrassing, but definitely one of my most embarrassing moments was in the second grade. We were having, I might have told this story on the show already because I just it was so awful. Yeah. We were, all the second grade classes were together in this one room having like a little presentation. This like we were learning about mountain men, and this guy who was like a mountain man or fucking something came and was like,
oh no, he was a real guy.
He was a real man.
Oh, okay.
He was like, I don't know. I guess like mountain men were not real in 2000, whatever that was, 3. But like, I don't know. He was like, just literally some random fucking gruff guy. I don't know. Anyway, he came and he was
gruff man.
Yeah, he was giving a presentation on mountain man things. A quiet time came in the presentation, and I farted really, really loud. Really, really loud, and everybody laughed, even the boy that I had a huge crush on. Of course, yeah. And it was horrible, and I wanted to die, and everybody knew it was me, and I thought the mountain man was going to stand up for me and be like, you shouldn't laugh at farts. They're real natural. And he didn't. And it was awful. And I literally have never forgotten it. I'm like, literally feel like
I ever forgave that mountain man.
No. How dare you? Yeah. You're like you know all that, the natural life, sir. Why don't you tell people how farts are actually okay? And it's fine. And don't laugh at that poor little girl who has like zero self-confidence.
Oh, I love it. Anyway, this is Remarks.
This is podcast. Remarks. Let's finally introduce it. I'm Phoebe.
I'm Taylor.
Hey.
And my title for my article, I guess, or my notes is Narchaeology, which I thought was pretty good.
Oh, that's title. Great. Oh, God. Mine is just called Ancient Aliens.
Aliens?
Yeah, because I just kept accidentally typing it in as Ancient Aliens.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why, so I just kept it as that.
LMAO.
Yeah. Obviously, today we're going to talk about fucking some pseudoscience.
Oh, yeah. Our favorite kind of science.
Pseudo-archaeology in particular.
I will say, and I kind of talked about this in mine, but what gave me the idea for this was there's this YouTube channel I really like called Mini Minute Man.
Oh, wow.
And it's this guy named Milo who is an archaeologist, and he has a series called Bad Archaeology where he does a lot of like this stuff where he debunks things. So it's really good.
I love that.
So shout out to him for inspiration.
Shout out Milo. Damn, that's so cool.
It's funny too because he's like 24. Like he's
baby archaeologist.
Yeah, but he's like he goes on digs and stuff. Like
that's
it's crazy.
So fucking
super cool.
God, archaeology is so fucking sick, dude. Which makes this even worse because it's like such an amazing science and like cool thing that people get to do, and then these jagovs just have to like make it into some fucking bullshit.
Yeah. There's a ton of stuff to do with this too, so if everybody likes it, we can always do a little Bad Archaeology part 2.
Yeah. We could do more. We could definitely do more with
this. Let us know. Let us know how you feel.
I had like more to talk about that I was like, okay, this is like 6 pages long, so I need to fucking chill. But it's Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So Taylor,
Yes, Phoebe.
do you believe in aliens?
Not in like the traditional sense of like little green men, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Not like Fox Mulder,
Right.
but
I believe.
yeah. But I do believe that there's definitely something out there. I think it probably looks a lot different than what we would think it looks like. It's probably so alien to us, literally. But yeah, I mean, I guess in a general sense, I do believe that there's other life out there.
Agree. Do you believe that aliens have ever been to planet Earth?
No.
Okay, agree. Hard agree.
Hard agree.
Do you believe aliens could have ever had a hand in creating some of our ancient civilizations?
I have a feeling that ancient aliens would tell me that I should.
Ancient alien theorists would say.
Ancient alien...
UFOlogists would say.
Yeah.
That yes, they definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't think so.
I also don't believe so.
But let's find out.
It's like one of those things where it's like, even if like, you know, like if humanity was to like get to the point where we could do intergalactic travel,
yeah,
it's like we would progress that far, I'm sure, but it's like the hard part is not like killing ourselves off before then, which I think every society probably deals with, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. I would like to hope that like other societies are doing better than Earth. But like, I don't know, if alien nature is similar to human nature, they're probably like, you know, polar ice caps on wherever fucking theta, whatever planet they live on are probably also melting.
Melting, yeah.
Hopefully they're better off, but
the alien like fucking shell gas.
Exactly.
Exxon Mobil is
sleep warp gas is like
sleep warp gas. So true. I love it.
Well, the folks at one of History Channel's more historical and educational TV shows certainly believe so.
Heavy air quotes.
Extremely. It's kind of like TLC, you know?
Yeah.
There's
the learning
The
channel.
learning. You learn so much when you watch that. I'm sure many of us have watched Ancient Aliens, whether we were high with a group of friends or drunk in a low-quality hotel room late at night. We've all had the chance to enjoy the fuckery that is Ancient Aliens. And listen, I think it's so fucking entertaining. Yeah. It's
true.
like, it's a blast. It's a completely ridiculous fucking show, like Finding Bigfoot is.
Mm-hmm. And I love those Finding Bigfoot shows.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
I'll watch those till the end of time.
Absolutely.
I don't even think Bigfoot's out there, but God.
But I want to watch
God
some
damn,
weirdos
watch
look for him.
Some fucking bearded men look for him. Yeah.
Exactly. Ancient Aliens has been running for 19 seasons now, airing in
Jesus.
I mean, holy fuck.
That's a
shitload of seasons. Mm-hmm. Airing in 2009 as a documentary, heavy air quotes again, on History Channel, and eventually being picked up in 2010 as a full-time series. Many of the ideas for the foundations of Ancient Aliens come from the works of Erich Anton Paul von Daniken.
Wow.
Erich. Erich. Yeah, it's a very he's Swiss man, and it's a very that Von, you know.
Yeah.
Von, I love a name that has a Von.
I believe.
I think it does.
At least I think in German it meant
I think that's
like
correct.
Von something was like it was almost like count or like, you know, meant you were like noble.
Yeah, I don't think he was. But he sure had a fancy sounding name.
Yeah.
So Erich Anton Paul von Daniken was a Swiss author known best for his book Chariots of the Gods ? Unsolved Mysteries of the Past.
Question mark. That's why there's not a TM on there.
I know. God, I love when book titles have like punctuation in them. You know, that's not just like a comma or whatever. Like, I love a good like question mark.
True. Or like,
is it?
There's a book title I'll mention that has a colon.
Ooh,
which I love a good colon.
Tasty,
colon
spicy.
Into the like subtitle, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this book, Chariots of the Gods ? Unsolved Mysteries of the Past, suggests that many ancient wonders, structures, and civilizations we know today were actually created with the help of extraterrestrial technology that was advanced far beyond the technology of ancient peoples and even beyond what we know today. Chariot of the Gods ? Was written in 1968 and it claims that structures like the Egyptian pyramids, Stonehenge, the Easter Island heads, which are known properly as the Moai, and the Nazca lines in Peru, which are these massive artistic glyphs in the Nazca Desert. They're like these huge things that portray like animals and other fauna and flora. This book suggests that they were all created with alien influence. Eric claims that many religions also come from the visitation of extraterrestrials, citing biblically accurate angels as misinterpreted UFOs. Which that one I kind of think is like fun and fine to do because religion's not real,
it's
so it's
okay.
okay.
You're dunking on the Bible. It's
Exactly.
Not, you're punching up at that point. Yeah.
Shit on the Bible all you want.
Yeah, no.
If he had left it there, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah. Biblically, yeah.
Which, like, I won't get into it too much, but I feel like some of the shit that people thought that they saw in the Bible is actually just them, like, tripping on ancient shit.
Well, it's like, I think about, like, just some of the, like, phenomena that we know more about now.
Exactly.
Like, if you saw the Northern Lights as, like, a fucking...
I would blow my fucking lid.
2,000, years ago, you'd be like, yeah, this is fucking angels.
That's
this
God.
Is a God.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, come on.
Like, just, like, regular-ass, like, things that happen.
Yeah.
The world is beautiful and crazy. Like,
yes. I mean, come on. Oh, my God. So, in this book, Eric cites ancient art as a way to back up his claims. Ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics depicting supposedly helicopters, Japanese figurines supposedly resembling spacemen in large spacesuits. Eric has sold over 25 million copies of his books, which, in a quote from Expedition magazine in an article by Stephen Epstein, marks him as selling, quote, more books about archaeology than any archaeologist who ever lived.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that sounds about right.
Oh my God. It's awful. It's so awful. Perhaps one of the most glaring examples of Eric's bullshittery, and by that I mean pseudoscience and racism, are his claims about the Easter Island Moai. Quote, even if people with lively imaginations have tried to picture the Egyptian pyramids being built by a vast army of workers using the heave-ho method, a similar method would have been impossible on Easter Island for lack of manpower. Even 2,000 men working day and night could not be nearly enough to carve these colossal figures out of the seal-hard volcanic stone with rudimentary tools. Evidence, not only in literature, but with literal photographs, proving how the construction of these structures was possible, already existed long before Eric's book was even published.
Oh, God.
So it had they already were like, this is not a mystery. It's totally, completely possible.
Yeah, it's so funny that it's always their argument. They're always like, there's just no way. And it's like, I feel like you're really undercutting how, like, ingenious humanity can be.
Yeah,
like,
and like how resourceful people are.
And artistic. Like,
exactly.
Like they can, like, I don't know.
Like math and shit have existed for a long time.
Yeah,
it's
dude,
all
Pythagorean
very
theorem. That
motherfucking Pythagoras.
Greece. Yeah.
Okay.
Ancient Greek. He fucking. I remember I did when we did the flat Earth episode.
I know. I remember that.
Yeah.
So Thor Heyerdahl's book called Aku Aku details experiments that Thor ran that proved how the Moai could have been made, transported, and erected on the island. Erect. All with materials from the island and using only manpower. And here's a quote from Stephen Epstein's article that explains this experiment pretty well. Quote, based on their demonstration, Heyerdahl concluded that 2 6-man teams working all day in shifts could carve a medium-sized 15-foot statue in about a year's time. 12 Easter Islanders set a 20-foot-ton statue upright in 18 days using nothing more than 3 15-foot wooden levers to pry the giant upward a quarter of an inch at a time, rocks to place under the rising figure, and, when it was high enough off the ground, ropes to topple it into place. So pretty fucking simple.
Yeah.
And, like, they didn't need a bunch of people to do this. And
or
it was also...
for that matter.
What?
Or aliens, for that matter.
Yeah. I didn't put this part in there, but also they proved how you could have carved the volcanic rock, and they said that if they just kept, like, getting it wet, it would sort of soften the rock, and they could carve into it easier. And so it's literally been
doable,
proven. Mind you, Thor Heyerdahl's book was published in 1958, a whole 10 years before Eric Daniken's book was published. So cool.
God damn.
Now, you could say, well, perhaps Eric just missed this one. However, after its release, Aku Aku stayed on the New York Times bestseller list for 30 weeks.
Wow.
You could also argue that maybe Eric just isn't that much of a reader. However, Eric literally references Thor's research in his book and cites it as a source for Chariot of the Gods ?
That's so wild because, like, again, it's like it's not like a different, like, you know, 'cause there are like historians and researchers that have like a difference of opinion on things,
right,
you know,
right.
But it's like you're asking me to choose between this totally logical
experiments,
makes complete
hypothesis,
sense,
you know, conclusions
and then he's like,
made.
I don't fucking know, dude. Probably aliens.
Probably aliens.
I don't know, because
I
like I don't know how they fucking did that.
He's like halfway done smoking a bong. He's like, I don't know, dude. Probably aliens.
Dude, fucking yeah. No, for sure.
So yeah, unfortunately, Eric is not an idiot or even out of touch. He's just good old plain racist.
Yeah. Love it.
Fantastic. It's worth noting as well that Eric was arrested at 19 for theft, arrested again during his stint in Egypt for fraud and embezzlement on a jewelry deal. After the release of his book, he was arrested again for fraud for cooking the books of the hotel that he worked at to take out a loan for $130,000, which he used. Yes, $130,000, which he used to travel to gather evidence of aliens, which is a shitload of money at that time.
Yeah, I mean, what, in the 60s?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Late 60s, yeah. But wait, there's more. Shortly after this, Eric was arrested again for, quote, repeated and sustained embezzlement, fraud, and forgery, with the court ruling that the writer had been living a playboy lifestyle.
This is like a con artist who was just like,
yeah,
yo, aliens,
yeah,
man. Like,
he's terrible.
Oh, man.
He's like, well, real quick while I'm writing this book about aliens, also, hey, what if I, like, con somebody out of a jewelry deal? What if I commit fraud on my fucking hotel accounting books?
I think that, really, Phoebe, I think that we just don't understand or, like, are not respecting his commitment to his research, because he only did those things to prove that aliens exist.
No, he did it to help us all understand.
It's kind of like Fox Mulder, really, at the end of the day, right?
Really,
like,
same
you gotta
integrity.
bend the rules a little bit because the truth is out there.
The truth is out there, and Eric Daniken must hunt it down. Hunt it down.
True, and he
and
didn't have
it.
Yeah, that too. He didn't have a Scully to like kind of keep him in check. You know?
God, if only.
I know.
If only.
I know.
Where was a beautiful redheaded woman to be like, now, Eric, are you sure you want to do that?
That doesn't exist. Aliens don't exist.
But aliens, they can never be real.
It is silly by the end of the show. Sorry to go on a tangent.
No,
on
please.
X-Files,
You know I
but,
love motherfucking X-Files.
It is crazy by the end of the show or even like into the first few seasons, and Scully's still like, Mulder, I don't think that aliens exist. It's like, you've been abducted by the aliens. What do you mean you don't think they exist?
It's like season 1. She sees an alien with her own
seen
eyes.
all of these unexplainable things, and you're like, I don't know about this one, Mulder.
Like, it's
so
like,
crazy.
girl, at this point, don't you think he would be like, well, probably.
It's most likely real, yeah.
Who knows? Like, I had sex with a literal fucking vampire, so at this point,
yeah, what?
Maybe.
Oh, it's crazy. Anyway.
Oh my god. Also, Eric Daniken's book, prior to publishing, was edited and essentially rewritten by a literal Nazi.
Oh.
So all around, just a real trustworthy guy.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. It was like nobody would publish his book. I fucking wonder why, except for this publisher that was a Nazi publisher. They had like published like a bunch of like books and newspapers for Nazi shit. I don't know. And so they were like, fuck yeah. Which it's like, I wonder why the Nazis were so interested in what Eric had to say.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
So confusing.
Evidence or like a book, air quotes, that like proves that ancient cultures aren't as good as they actually were.
Yeah, especially ancient cultures of color.
Interesting.
Yeah. Also, the editor was, I think she was like the editor for this like Nazi newspaper, and yeah. So anyway,
wild.
Always some Nazis in there.
I mean, yeah, mine has plenty of Nazis in it
I'm
too.
sure it does.
Kind of the kings of bad archaeology, really.
Ain't that the fucking truth? So I'm going to stop talking about Eric Daniken in a minute because we have to move on to the real star of the show here, which is Ancient Aliens. But I'm going to end with a quote about Eric from Carl Sagan, who's a pretty respected astronomer and scientist. Now, Carl Sagan has like speculated about aliens and all of these kinds of things, but I feel like he does it in a way where he's like, let's think about the possibilities of things and what could be out there. And he isn't like, aliens created things that ancient people, you know. Anyway, he's like doing it in a fun,
more realistic about it.
Yes,
realistic, I guess in air quotes, but like, yeah, like more like this could be like it's fun to think about.
Yeah,
the
he's more like, what if aliens were real? He also created the show Cosmos, or he's like the I don't know, big high person.
Never heard of that, but
it's a great show. It's about space and stuff.
I love space.
Anyway, so here's the quote from Carl Sagan. Quote, "That writing, as careless as von Daniken's, whose principal thesis is that our ancestors were dummies, should be so popular is a sober commentary on the credulousness and despair of our times. I also hope for the continuing popularity of books like Chariot of the Gods in high school and college logic courses as object lessons in sloppy thinking. I know of no recent book so riddled with logical and factual errors as the works of von Daniken."
Jesus Christ. Bro, I fucking love when like academics like throw shade because it's always like so proper and like so well worded, and it's like, oh my god,
Carl Sagan fucking hated him. He fucking hated that guy. God, it's so fucking funny.
God, that's so fucking funny.
Oh my god. So Eric von Daniken even appeared on Ancient Aliens himself in the original episode and in a number of episodes down the line in the series. Now, as I was saying earlier, Ancient Aliens is still running to this day alongside a number of other historical and educational shows on the History Channel, such as...
Stars.
Well, yeah, literally, that's one of the ones I listed. Motherfucking Pawn Stars. Which, like, Pawn Stars could actually be really cool because, like, the shit that people bring... It could be, like, an Antique Roadshow kind of show. But it just is, like...
It almost like became more of like a reality show about the people
about like the family.
Yeah. And like fucking Chumley and like
Chumley. Oh my
Jesus.
God. And now people will, because they're in Vegas, people will line up like down the fucking strip to try to get into Pawn Stars, and they're like, "This is my grandma's rug. Isn't it interesting enough to be on your show, please?"
Yeah.
Oh God. So yeah, the beauty of Pawn Stars. We also have Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, that's close to us.
I know, exactly. Yeah. Which, you know, I'm sure is like very... That was... Woo!
A little crisp. We're drinking Pacifico.
We are. I fucking love Pacifico. I've been on my Mexican like beer grind lately. My
it's getting warm. It's getting summery, dude.
You need a cerveza when it's warm outside.
You need a Pacifico and a lime, dude?
Oof. Yeah, do we have limes? Lime juice?
I have lemon juice. Currently with
that could be
good. It would do the job.
It would do the job. It wouldn't hit as hard, but it would do the job.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that, you know, the Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch is not at all racist towards indigenous people and isn't, you know.
Fun story. My ex-roommate, he lived he grew up close to Skinwalker Ranch, and he said that he was like, it's dangerous to go out there, and I was like, because of the Skinwalker, and he's like, no, you'll just like get shot by like the property owners.
I mean, because I'm sure that like people are always like fucking pilfering around on their property, being like, "Whoa, Skinwalkers!"
Literally.
Which like some people say you shouldn't even say that word because it's like not. I don't know.
Yeah.
So people don't feel very chill about it. Anyway, so I'm sure that's a great show. We also have Swamp People. I don't know if you've ever watched that one, but it's
that one's lit, actually.
It is pretty lit.
A bunch of people on a boat just being like, I saw a gator about
sticking their hand in the water and grabbing out the biggest fucking catfish you've ever seen.
Just like, holy shit.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that would scare the living shit out of me. I'm not that scared of fish. I'm not actually scared of fish at all, but like, or the ocean or anything, but like something about how you catch a catfish is that it eats your arm and then you rip it out of the muddy water
and like pull your arm out.
Yeah, like I don't love that. I'm happy for catfishing people, but
yeah, I mean, if you're into it and
you
like catfish,
all due respect.
I remember we used to go fishing as a family when I was younger, and we'd catch some catfish. I recall them being good.
In Utah?
Maybe in Colorado. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, somewhere.
Huh. Interesting.
I feel like we got, they weren't huge catfish, but they were catfish.
Also, Monster Quest. The show Monster Quest.
I've not seen Monster Quest, actually.
It is exactly what it sounds like. It's just like all of the different types of monsters, and they're like, let's see if this monster exists.
Hell yeah,
yeah,
dude.
fucking awesome.
I wish that, you know what? History Channel, hit us up. I want a cryptid show.
Yeah, let's talk.
Literally.
I would love to chat.
I would like to, yeah.
I would love to chat about the cryptids that I personally have seen.
Yeah.
In Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like there's every other show on History Channel is like Appalachia this, Appalachia that. It's like there's not.
We're sick of the Appalachians.
Where's the fucking Rocky Mountain cryptids, brother?
Because we know we have them.
We gotta have some.
You know we have them.
Come on.
And there's also like the Bear Lake Monster.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying, dude.
We got our own little Nessie here. Come check her out.
Hit us up. We want a show.
Yeah.
We'll sign a contract. Let's do it.
We're down. And we'll do it in a way that's not
true
pseudo-archaeology way.
Yeah, we'll be legit about it.
Exactly.
We'll bring your channel back to history.
Exactly.
There's a really cool museum in Maine I want to go to, the Museum of Cryptozoology.
Oh, cryptozoology. God damn, man.
Just a bunch of, history on cryptids and stuff. It's neat. Sounds lit.
I love it.
Anyway, sorry to derail.
Hey, man, that's what we're here for. It's our fucking show.
I'm beer deep already, so I'm ready to fucking
we're
tangent.
Sidebar. We're tangenting like no tomorrow. Woo! Okay. Feels good. I was telling Taylor, I can't remember if I said this on air, but this episode feels like an all-timer. I just gotta say. Oof. Anyway, okay. Ancient Aliens' entire premise was to present an ancient wonder, such as the pyramids, Stonehenge, as being impossible to build with ancient technologies. The show also wildly speculated about hieroglyphics, cave paintings, and ancient art as being evidence toward alien involvement in the creation of ancient societies. Guests will point out an oval-shaped petroglyph and claim that this is obviously a UFO, and therefore aliens must have come and help indigenous people build their world. One of my favorite speculations that the show makes, and probably the least harmful, is the episode speculating about religion. Guests on the show, as I was kind of saying earlier with the Eric Daniken shit, guests on the show have said that the biblically accurate angels are actually alien ships, which, I don't know, spinning rings with eyes all over them. It's sounds like aliens.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's a pretty alien concept.
So. Or that the Star of Bethlehem is an alien spotlight. And my personal favorite, that Mary was impregnated by an alien, and that Jesus Christ is a half alien, half human, come to save the world.
That one is really good.
Yeah. It's so
it had
great.
a aliens spy, a fucking alien CIA KGB spy, monitoring the world, just being
it's these people need to learn how to turn the cheek.
True.
Turn the other cheek.
I know, that's so funny too, because it's the alien is preaching as in a religious sense. I don't know, it's funny.
Also, why would the aliens care?
Yeah,
why would they be
they want to save, I don't know, I
guess.
Because it's what
they saw Sodom and Gomorrah, and they were like, "Good Lord!"
They're Jesus Christ.
They were like, "Jesus Christ!" The alien we're about to implant into this
literally.
woman.
Please save them.
All of the ufologists' arguments are thin, using phrases like "ancient alien theorists agree," or "this was probably extraterrestrials," or being extremely vague about the time period in which they're referring to, saying things like "a long time ago," or "many years ago," or "in ancient times." So not a lot of real fucking science, trackable science. The show will cut between interviews with the ufologists and ancient alien theorists to stock photos and videos of the pyramids, hieroglyphs, or whatever other ancient work that they're discussing that episode, and then cut to dramatic photos of drawings or artist fucking renderings of aliens and be it's the pyramids. Could it have been this alien? And it's the gray alien. It's all scary. All of these weightless arguments, quick sequences of photo and video flashes of aliens are meant to overwhelm the viewer and get them to associate ancient wonders with alien life. You know who else wants to overwhelm the podcast listener and get them to associate our podcast with alien life?
Probably products and services.
Probably products and probably services and probably
well services. Yeah,
extraterrestrials.
I've said since day one that corporations, aliens.
Honestly, that's the only thing that would make sense.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would you be so evil?
Yeah, and exactly. Like, how can you lack so much empathy?
Exactly. Must be aliens.
It's gotta be aliens, right?
Yeah, couldn't be the human condition.
I think we're on to something.
We'll explore it during this break.
Yes, of course. Anyway, and I would just like to let everybody know there's no need to worry. We did, in fact, get lemons for the Pacificos.
A second lemon has hit the Pacifica. And we are refreshed,
We
sir.
are refreshed.
George Bush, what are you going to do?
God. Man, what a guy. I think George Bush watches Ancient Aliens.
You know he does.
I feel like it's right up his fucking alley.
Oh, he loves that shit. He's sitting at home. What's his wife's name? Martha?
Probably.
I think it's Martha. He's sitting at home and he's like, Martha! Did you hear this about the pyramids? Martha!
Martha!
Get in here!
You're never going to believe this.
He's like, I was right all along.
True.
You know that if he could have somehow blamed 9/11 on aliens, he would have. Actually, no. I think he wanted to say 9/11 was aliens, and his team was like, no, George, remember how we're trying to invade the Middle East?
We want to go here.
Remember Afghanistan?
You remember the oil?
What we're trying to do?
We talked about the oil.
So we can't do the alien thing.
Maybe
yet.
Another time.
Yeah.
But not this time,
yeah.
okay?
We'll do that in 2023 or whenever the fuck. Remember when all that alien shit came out?
Yeah, when the JFK alien stuff
Yeah, it was
dropped.
aliens are real and they're at Area 51 and yeah. Don't worry while we overturn women's rights.
True.
Whatever.
Yeah, no. Just think about the aliens, not...
Guess what? Yeah. Aliens are real.
How Florida still has a book ban on
exactly
fucking any LGBTQ plus books.
Yeah. So, Ancient Aliens, the TV show on History Channel. They're having these ufologists. They're giving a quote about holy fuck, this was probably aliens that did that. And they're doing a flash of a dramatic picture of an alien, and then they're showing a hieroglyph of a pharaoh next to a oblong object, and they're oh my god. Anyway, so this style of argument is called Gish Gallop, named after Dwayne Gish, which is just a fucking great name.
Dwayne Gish, yeah.
It sounds like a...
Dwangish.
Yeah. It sounds like that, Dwayning the... It's, a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Dwayne Gish.
Seashells down by the seashore,
exactly.
baby.
Dwayne Gish Gallops, the ancient aliens. Dwayne Gish is a creationist scientist known for the book Evolution. Even the fossils say no! !
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that makes that tracks. That runs.
Once again, punctuation. Even the fossils say no! ! Which no, they don't.
Are you sure about that?
They don't say no.
You sure about that?
Gish.
Come on.
Gish would argue with real scientists about the validity of evolution by presenting a mountain of bullshit arguments until the opposing debater was so deep under the pile of bullshit that it would take up their entire argument time trying fruitlessly to disprove Gish's claims. But they would never be able to actually present their own scientifically based arguments back.
I mean, that's a playbook that the fucking far right uses right now. The amount of time it takes to you take one fucking Ben Shapiro Jordan Peterson video, you could make a 3-hour fucking video essay. I've watched some of them about a 10-minute one of their videos because you just have to debunk all the bullshit that they're saying.
They say 30 bullshit things within the first 2 minutes. And you're okay, first of all, this isn't real. This isn't real. There's not litter boxes in schools because people want to identify as cats. Oh, my God. And so this is what Ancient Alien does, except rarely, if ever, do they even have an opposing opinion. Presenting the questions about ancient works like, how could they have possibly built this? Or, it seems impossible. Or, people have been confused about this for centuries. And then following that up with, ufologists suspect, or these hieroglyphs could mean, or, well, there's no evidence that it's not aliens. And everyone's favorite ufologist, Giorgio Tsoukalos, simply saying, aliens.
That fucking guy.
Oh, man. Which is, the guy with the big, giant hair.
Yeah. He looks like Rob Schneider to me.
He kind of does.
I know. It's weird, huh?
I've never seen George Tsoukalos and Rob Schneider in the same room.
Interesting. Nor have I ever seen either of them in person, but I'd bet that Rob Schneider is an alien.
You know what? Yeah, that's my new theory that I'm starting.
Yeah, no, I feel like we got a lot of we got a lot of good theories coming from this. Again,
we do.
History Channel.
If you're already backing shows like Ancient Aliens,
you might as
we're
well,
a shoo-in for the fucking network.
Come on.
Man, people would love us.
Come on,
History Channel. In one episode of Ancient Aliens, reviewed by Riley Black in Smithsonian Magazine, the alien scientists try to argue that the dinosaurs...
Stevie could not even get through the line.
It's so funny that the dinosaurs were made extinct by aliens in order to make room for the human race.
Yeah.
Oh, we're off to a great start.
God, that's so that's like as delusional as like the dinosaurs don't exist Christians, you know?
I feel like it's like by season like 16 they're running out of ideas.
True,
and they're like
what do we
it was the aliens that killed the dinosaurs.
Like every historical event ever is like aliens. Yeah.
It's like how Forrest Gump was there for everything. Aliens. Forrest Gump is an alien. Boom. It's right
there
itself.
Come on.
It writes itself. God damn. Throughout the episode, they use arguments from Michael Cremo and Willie E. Dye, neither of which are ever referred to as creationists, which they are. And Michael is simply referred to as the author of Forbidden Archaeology, which is his book, while Willie is referred to as a biblical archaeologist, whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, for sure.
But it makes them sound much more credible, despite them both being known as staunch creationists who work in pseudoscience.
Yeah.
Cremo even references some human footprints being found next to dinosaur footprints, stating it as if it were fact, when this finding had already been quickly disproven as carvings made by modern people who were just being fucking idiots, destroying a archaeological site. So he was like,
lovely.
Look, people were around when there were dinosaurs, and it's literally just like some fucking 16-year-old kid was like, this would be funny if I carved human footprints in here.
Phoebe, you're just buying into big archaeology.
You're right.
And what the mainstream wants you to think.
I'm expanding my mind enough.
It's true. That's probably why that's why you don't really get the fucking Ancient Aliens. Like, you gotta watch Rick and Morty to like really understand, Like, you gotta be kind of that level of intelligent. Like,
exactly. Well, yeah, and that's exactly, the more Rick and Morty you watch, the more Ancient Aliens starts to make sense.
Honestly, I'd love to see the Venn diagram of like Rick and Morty and Ancient Aliens.
God.
Because I'm almost positive it's a circle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. So Willie Dye presents another bullshit, already disproven artifact as reality, citing the Ica stones from Peru as proof that humans had interacted with dinosaurs. Which, like, I think he maybe just watched that movie, The Good Dinosaur, and he was like, this is fucking footage. This is video footage of real life.
The Pixar movie? Yeah. He's like, whoa, dude, have you seen that new
You
documentary?
guys seen that documentary? The dinosaur's name was Arlo.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, we're off the rails.
It's so fun.
Woo! The Ica stones were found around the 15th century, and these stones and many others like it went on to be traded and sold later in the 1960s. The Ica stones are these carved stones with detailed depictions of ancient humans interacting with dinosaurs, and they're like very beautiful, and they look very ancient looking. They kind of look like those like kind of Roman pots or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, These stones were sold and presented as having been created in the time of early humans, but they were easily sniffed out. Literally, like, one person that knew, like, one thing looked at them and they were like, no. And the creator of the stones, Basilico Ushuya, apologies to this guy who's probably not alive anymore if I pronounce your name wrong, and his wife were found to have copied the depictions of dinosaurs from art books of their time. So it was complete bullshit and immediately disproven as bullshit. However, the show never mentions this interesting little fact and lets Willie present this argument as if it were truth. The episode even suggests that aliens manipulated dinosaur DNA to make them evolve into smaller, more docile species in order to make the planet more habitable for human life.
That's so wild. You know, it's so funny to me, like, because a lot of these people will be like the same people that are like, you can't believe mainstream archaeology.
Right,
and it's like, you're literally, you are mainstream. You are on the History Channel and you are misrepresenting the facts. Like, you are what people, you're like warning people to not believe. Like,
dude,
you're doing the thing.
Fucking exactly. It's like, oh my God. Aliens manipulated dinosaur DNA so that they would turn into smaller It's into, like, evolution. Yeah. It's just evolution. You're just saying what evolution is, except you're like pretending that aliens are a part of it. That's what fucking evolution works.
Literally.
Oh my God.
And it's like, yeah, like fucking alligators and crocodiles existed back then. They are dinosaurs.
Yes,
like they existed back then.
There are sharks that have been around for like centuries.
True. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, like dude, weird, crazy alligator fact. You know they don't die of old age.
Yeah, I feel like I read that literally just the other day.
It's so fucking wild.
It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, like they just will live forever unless they get like murdered by something.
Yeah, that's like crazy.
Or if their like body eventually gives out, but they like don't age. It's weird.
Add that to the list of like Rise of the Planet of the dolphins, crows, crocodiles.
Yeah. If they team up, we're done.
Oh, we're screwed.
We're so over.
Screwed. What I want to know is why would aliens give a fuck to kill the dinosaurs for us?
Yeah.
Like, what's the motivation?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Especially like I don't know. Yeah. Like where.
Why would they come from a different planet?
Ancient humans were they that special? Like, I don't know.
Right. And that's another thing about this whole thing is that it's like in a universe of shit, why is the planet, it's this like, anyway, okay.
It's interesting.
I can't argue because it's not logical. Okay. A quote from the Smithsonian article by Riley Black reams this show pretty well, and I just thought it was fucking funny and well said, so here you go. Quote, Ancient Aliens is some of the most noxious sludge in television's bottomless chum bucket. Actual experts are brought in to deliver sound bites that are twisted and taken out of contexts, while fanatics are given free rein. Fiction is presented as fact, and real scientific research is so grossly misinterpreted that I can only conclude that the program is actively lying to viewers. To present the show as a documentary on a non-fiction network is a loathsome move by the History Channel, and at the time it was on a spinoff, so they said spinoff. The program shows a sheer contempt for science and what we really know about nature.
Damn. Go off. Go off.
It's
that's wild.
It's one of those quotes that it's just like, fuck you.
I fucking hate you. Yeah, literally like Kendrick talking about Drake. Like, I fucking hate everything about you.
That is like, also, I've been just really enjoying that as like Drake is just such a fucker. Such a fucker.
I don't understand how he thought that he even stood a chance in this beef,
against Kendrick Lamar?
Literally? Like,
I'm sorry, man. The last good song that you released was Passion Fruit, okay? Since then, it's been bullshit. So why did you think?
And like, just the amount of respect that everybody, like, everybody, even if you're not into rap, is like, Kendrick Lamar is the best rapper in the fucking game. Like, it's crazy. Anyway, tangent again, but
no, let's become a rap beef podcast.
Yeah, I think we should. Us two incredibly white people.
Yeah, like we fucking know a damn thing. Oh man. One of Ancient Aliens' common themes is ancient Egypt, which, God, people love to just speculate about ancient Egypt, speculating about a number of accomplishments made by these ancient peoples. As we all know, ancient Egypt was a very well-structured society using irrigation, complex burial methods, and massive structures such as the pyramids and the Sphinx. The scientists on Ancient Aliens love to make claims and speculate about how the Egyptians could have possibly built such massive structures, and how they could have possibly aligned them with the stars, ignoring the fact that star charting was an already extremely common practice in Egypt and other places, and that the stars are not even always aligned with the pyramids. It's like, depends obviously on the fucking night lining up of the damn night sky because the planet rotates. Anyway. Arguments on Ancient Aliens about the pyramids downplay the intelligence of early Egyptians, suggesting that they never could have come up with the ideas of their societal structure on their own, that they never could have developed a system for transporting the blocks needed for the pyramids, and that they couldn't possibly have created some type of pulley system in order to hoist the blocks up. Couldn't have done it.
It's not pulley system?
Never heard of her.
Never heard of her.
A quote from an article in America Hates, which I feel like we really should start reading that a lot more because it sounds like we would love it, by Lena M. Sanchez Bentecourt, shares some of the evidence for ancient Egyptians being perfectly capable of building their own damn pyramids. Thank you very much. Quote, "The Egyptians did not just appear one day. They had been living along the Nile for more than 12,000 years. The towering pyramids are a result of a lot of trials and errors and other failed pyramids. Some can still be seen near the banks of the river. Why does it seem mysterious that they knew way more about the earth than white Europeans did? It's not a coincidence, but knowledge and mastery. One has to believe that Africans are capable of excellence for such a mystery to vanish." So just very well said there. Which it's like, they had been a society for like an extremely long time. Why would you think that they couldn't come up with these kinds of things?
That thing where it's like, just because white people couldn't do it doesn't mean it was aliens or it was, I mean, we'll get into more of what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but
I'm
it
so
wasn't
excited.
Fucking Atlantis, like Atlanteans.
Exactly. Ancient alien theorists ignore the fact that, yes, ancient peoples were actually capable of complex thought and structures, and they conveniently ignore the usage of slaves also by some of these ancient societies, particularly the Egyptians. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you have thousands of slaves and a whip.
Yeah.
Perhaps worst of all, though, Ancient Aliens never seems to speculate about European structures such as the Colosseum, the aqueducts, or other white ancient accomplishments. The show seems to always go back to the works of indigenous people and ancient societies who were black or brown-skinned. A quote from the archaeologist Sarah Koenig's TED Talk sums this up well. Quote, "It's common to hear pseudo-archaeologists claim that groups like the ancient Egyptians or the ancient Maya accomplished incredible things, but only with the help of outside groups like aliens or people from Atlantis. What you rarely hear is pseudo-archaeologists claiming that, say, Romans had help building the Colosseum or that the Greeks had help building the Parthenon. Why is that? For pseudo-archaeologists, Europeans could have accomplished their feats on their own, but non-Europeans must have had outside guidance. Claims like these are not just outrageous, they are offensive. Here, and in so many other instances, pseudo-archaeology sustains myths of white supremacy, disparages non-Europeans, and discredits their ancestors' achievements." Fucking well said, Sarah.
Agreed.
Sarah is a specialist in ancient Maya and shares the story of a local Maya man who would sell slate carvings to tourists. One day he shows her one of his newest works, a carving of the image carved into the sarcophagus lid of the Maya king Pakal. It's a beautiful, detailed carving of the king rising from the underworld to be reborn as a god. A quote from Sarah shows just how far Ancient Aliens has reached and the damage that it has caused. Quote, "I was so excited to talk with my neighbor about ancient Maya religion, cosmology, and iconography. Instead, he wanted to talk about an Ancient Aliens episode he had seen, the one about the Maya, and he told me that this image was of an astronaut at the controls of a rocket ship. I was shocked. Instead of marveling at his own ancestors, he was in awe of a fictional alien. He even told me that one day he hoped to give this carving to Eric von Daniken, father of the Ancient Aliens phenomenon." Like, holy shit, dude. Fucking, like, this guy who literally is related to the people who created these things is, like, But the aliens.
But what about I saw the alien show?
I saw that alien show.
That it wasn't him, so it was the aliens that did that. Yeah, that's crazy.
The idea that anyone non-white, non-European would have needed help to create complex structures or artwork is racist and fully underestimates what ancient people were capable of. One more quick tidbit, and then I'll turn the time over to you. But I just had to share. This has like nothing to do with anything, but I just couldn't find any like interesting or like fucked up shit about Giorgio Tsoukalos. Other than like being a weird ancient aliens guy, he just like he's a normal dude,
a normal guy,
which like good, thank God.
Yeah.
He's the most memeable person on Ancient Aliens. Like I said, the guy with the very tall hair who says things like, "I'm not saying it's aliens, but." He is married to a woman named Crix Beeble.
Crix Beeble?
Crix Beeble is her name.
What a name! What kind of is Beeble as him is the last name?
Beeble is her last name.
The first
Crix
name is
her
Crix?
first. Krix.
Whoa!
Crix Beeble.
Wow.
She creates jewelry, and
I feel like that is the occupation of someone named Crix Beeble.
Absolutely. And she has a necklace called like the Giorgio necklace or something. And she's very much like the new age spiritual type.
Yeah.
So to end with a quote from our girl, Sarah Koenig, I want to say, before I say this quote, that, you know, conspiracy theories can be very fun. Watching Ancient Aliens can be fun and silly, but it's important to remember to consume these things through a lens of knowing the dangers of this kind of rhetoric. And like, perhaps History Channel could do something to sort of say like, this isn't fact, or bring people on who are going to combat the bullshit that the fucking ufologists are saying. Anyway, and especially when this show is presented with no true scientific arguments or facts against it. So here's the quote from Sarah. Quote, "However, we cannot underestimate the power of entertainment value, and we can't ignore that when repeated often enough, pseudo-archaeological claims can fuel racist, xenophobic thoughts."
True.
The end.
Finn. Well, I think it's a good time for another little ad break-inator.
Let's do it.
And then we'll be back, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Atlantis.
I can't fucking wait, dude.
Anyway. We are back, baby.
Guys, listeners, I got a puppy.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about your little new pup.
Puppy. She's a whippet. So, you know, similar shape and temperament to Tonks. She's like 2 months old. Her name is Siobhan. We call her Shiv for short.
So cute.
Oh my God, she's literally the most beautiful thing I've ever laid my eyes on. I already love her so much. I thought that like it might be difficult for me to sort of like love, I don't know, it's like I was like, I will never love another animal as much as they loved Tonks.
Yeah.
And then this little baby came out of her carrier for the first time, and I laid my eyes on her and I was like, I love you more than anything.
More than my life
ever.
itself.
Yeah.
I would give my life for you.
I would lay down and let you, like, I would lay across like a mud puddle, and you crawl across me.
Walk over the top of me.
Yes.
Put my coat down.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I love her so much. I'm already so fucking attached to her. It's actually crazy.
It's cute. I saw this TikTok the other day, and it was like this girl, and she's like mimicking somebody else. She was like, you let your cat lay on your bed, dude? Like, sleep with you on your bed? And she's like, brother, I'd let my cat shoot a gun if it wanted to.
Exactly.
I'd let my cat commit tax fraud in my name if she wanted to.
Literally. That's literally how I feel. I'm like, she can have anything she wants.
Literally.
My life is hers.
This is what I was made for.
Yeah.
Was to care for this
Loving
creature.
this dog more than fucking anything. Yeah. I'll post something on our story or on our feed. She's gorgeous, beautiful, amazing.
Baby.
I love her.
True.
I'm a mother again. Feels good.
I bet.
Yeah. Tell us about Atlantis.
Yeah, let's jump into it. So I wasn't quite sure where I was going to go with this episode because I knew there's a big old world of bad archaeology out there. But in my in typical Taylor fashion, I decided to start at the beginning, or at least some long time ago, and kind of work my way forward. So our story begins with Helena Blavatsky.
Oh, this bitch.
She was born on August 12th, 1831 in Ukraine. She traveled around the world as a young woman and was quite fascinated with other cultures and religions, specifically Hinduism and the occult. She did quite a bit of stuff and, got married, all that jazz. Mm-hmm. But for our purposes here, in 1875, so what she'd have been like in her 40s, Helena and some other of her spiritualism friends started the Theosophical Society of New York. Swap out the Zen.
Throw your Zen out. It's getting serious in
gotta
here.
Gotta get another Zen.
Yeah.
All right.
For this one, some theosophy shit.
Yeah.
We gotta need a Zen for that.
Theosophy is an interesting concept. It's pretty heady, but the main takeaways are kind of like weird spiritualism speak with the dead kind of stuff. Like she even like says when she was coming up with like all of her beliefs and stuff, a lot of it was because of like clairvoyance, speaking with the dead.
Right.
It was kind of in that like era of spiritualism.
Yeah.
It was popular at the time. And the deeper lore is what we're going to kind of dive into today.
Yay.
They also believe that like all religion hold truths, and like we as a species are like evolving spiritually to like our highest form,
Okay.
Kind of new agey stuff.
Yeah. Vibrating and all that.
Vibrating
5D and all that.
5D, yeah, no, literally. Blavatsky believed in what she called root races.
Oh no. Oh no.
Just by that.
Oof.
She wrote about these concepts in many of her books, but the main one I could find was The Secret Doctrine is what it was called.
Okay.
Her theory posits that the 7 root races correlate to the development of humanity, spiritually and physically in some ways.
Okay.
Her theories were expanded upon in works like The Story of Atlantis and The Lost Lemuria by William Scott.
Oh, yeah, Lemuria.
Yeah. And then my abbreviation title is Man, Whence, How, and Whither by Annie Besant, which is kind of a hardcore name, to be honest.
Yeah, it really is, actually. That's a pretty good one. I can't even be mad about it.
Yeah.
I can't even be mad about it.
The number of root races that we've had so far are Plorarian, Hyperborean, Lemurian, Atlantean, and Aryan.
I've only heard of one of these, and it didn't go well.
I guess Atlantean you can kind of get like Atlantis.
Sure,
yeah. Supposedly that's where we currently are is Aryan in evolution, but there's still 2 more to come.
I don't want
to them. Yeah, no, I'm good.
I'm happy. I'm okay.
Pretty chill where we're at, actually. The spiritualism portion of this is that the souls of the previous dead would obviously like be reincarnated. Obviously, would be reincarnated into like the current people. So like the souls of the Atlanteans would come back as the souls of Aryans.
Sure.
Atlantis was believed to be a supercontinent in the Atlantic Ocean before it began to slowly sink due to the axial rotation disturbances from earthquakes and such.
Right.
According to Theosophy, yeah, of course, the axial disturbances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had a big earthquake here like 3 years ago now.
4
years ago.
It's 24, isn't it? 2020. We had an earthquake. That was fucking terrifying.
That was crazy.
It wasn't like that, but like really like nothing like was, too terribly damaged. Nothing like it wasn't like earth shattering, but like I don't know. I mean, I moved out of Cali when I was a kid, so I didn't really experience earthquakes all that much. And oh my God, I physically felt my whole fucking house move. That was crazy. Also,
it was wild.
Me and my roommate at the time, we woke up to the earthquake. So it was at like 7 a.m. And then we were already planning on doing mushrooms that day. And we were like, well,
I guess we
might
gotta.
as well. And literally, I fuck you not. The second that we took them, the first aftershock happened, and we
No.
looked at each other and we're like, we're in too
I
deep
guess
now.
we gotta do it. I was at
fine.
work. I was on a call with a customer at the job I worked at the time, and because I worked at like 5:30 in the morning, I had some insane schedule, and like everything just started to shake. And I remember being like,
God.
I'm gonna have to call you back. Like I
gotta go.
Like things are shaking. Like I don't know what's going on. Like
The world is ending.
Yeah,
Aliens
sorry.
are here.
Yeah, the aliens have come. Ancient Aliens was right. I would duck and cover if I was you, but
Yeah.
have a good time. Have a good
You're
life.
like, I don't know if you're in Utah, but if you are,
Yeah,
hide.
hide right now. According to Theosophy, Atlantis fully sunk in 9564 BC. Before come, I don't know.
People could not come before then. It was awful.
Yeah, until like 1 AD, which is after
Duh, orgasm.
that's when people could start coming.
Exactly.
I don't know how reproduction worked, but it was crazy.
It was like cell division. Or
Yeah,
something.
something. I don't
You
know.
know, one of those.
The folks who made it off the island of Atlantis, I should say, were able to continue to spread their knowledge and evolution with the help of reincarnation, of course, and other cultures and two other cultures around the globe. Now, I'm sure you can kind of see where this is heading. More advanced society spreading their teachings and cultures and advancements to lesser, quote unquote, peoples. Pretty cool. It's kind of the same, like instead of aliens, all of what Phoebe said, just put in like Atlanteans in that, you know, like they were taught, they influenced all of culture, you know, because they were like a superior race.
Which is what Germany was. That's all Germany was trying to do in 1940, whatever.
Yeah. I know it ended in 1945. I think 1938 was when they really got started. I don't know.
Something like that. I'm bad at dates, guys.
Yeah.
I know things, but I'm
I know, like
not
the
great at the
time
number
period,
dates.
you know. Anyway, Helena had a strange definition of the Aryan people, who some storytellers would refer to as moon-colored because of their white or lighter skin. However, it seems to have stretched, and this is also like in, I guess, like Nazi lore.
right.
Like it kind of stretched outside of just like white people. I mean, obviously they liked white people the most, but like you know, like Middle Eastern and like Indian were like fine, you know, because they were like lighter skinned. And, you know, there's like a lot of shit.
It's
and
Nazis.
and again, that's the thing is like, who's to say what each individual Nazi actually believed? You know,
Right.
like we don't really even know a whole lot of like. I mean, we know a lot about Hitler, but like, did he really buy into a lot of the weird conspiracy stuff? Like, not really, but he used it to like keep control.
Yeah.
But yeah, so her definition was like Indian, Middle Eastern sections, as well as just like Anglo-Saxons, but more like lighter skinned people. I suppose it does include some darker skinned people as well. Here's a quote from Blavatsky herself. The intellectual difference between the Aryan and other civilized nations and such savages as South Sea Islanders is inexplicable on any other grounds. No amount of culture nor generations of training amid civilization could raise such human specimens as the Bushmen, the Vedhes of Kalon, and some African tribes, to the same intellectual level as the Aryans, the Semites, and the Turanians, so-called. The sacred spark is missing in them, and it is they who have the only inferior races on the globe. Now, happily, owing to the wise adjustments of nature, whichever works in that direction, fast dying out. Basically saying that these inferior, quote-unquote, cultures are dying out, and that's a good thing to her. Verily, mankind is of one blood, and not of the same essence. We are the hothouse, artificially quickened plants in nature, having in us a spark, which in them is latent. Esoteric history teaches that idols and their worship died out with the fourth race, until the survivors of the hybrid races of the latter, Chinaman, African, N-word, gradually brought the worship back. The Vedas continents no idols. All the modern Hindu writings do. So, again, a lot of like confusing language. Basically saying like when the fourth race died out before we hit Aryan, that's when idols died out. But then the races she feels are less superior brought that back.
I love that she said that they don't have a spark.
Yeah, they don't have like the intellectual spark.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Another quote from her. The Aryan race, for instance, now varying from dark brown, almost black, red, brown, yellow, down to the whitest creamy color, are yet all of one of the same stock. The fifth root race and spring from one single progenitor, who is said to have lived over 18 million years ago, and also 850,000 years ago, at the time of the sinking of the last remnants of the great continent of Atlantis. Probably having to do with like the reincarnation shit.
Right.
Of course.
How could I forget?
Come on, Phoebe, catch up. let's keep it going. So I don't know that Helena was like particularly any more racist than anyone else who lived in her time. Right. Like it was pretty common. I mean, British fucking colonization and whatnot. And maybe seemed to accept that all races were now the spiritual new race of Aryans, or at least, a good chunk of them. Mm-hmm. But it's more about what comes after her that matters.
Right.
Blavatsky died May 8th, 1891. This is before, this was in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Neo-Theosophists, as they're called, believe that by the time we hit the seventh root race, we will be moving on to live on Mercury and continue our spiritual evolution. So
sure.
And that's, some of them came after her that kind of theorized about this. There are a few Theosophists left, but again, it's kind of a niche.
It's a dying.
Yeah. Real niche religion, I guess.
Why Mercury?
I don't know. That's just what they said.
Isn't that the first planet that's like the closest to the sun?
Maybe we'll
evolve to not be burnt to a crisp.
Exactly. Yeah,
and then somehow travel to Mercury.
Yes, after we've evolved, of course, because we can't go there first.
No. Exactly. Yeah. No, it all makes sense.
All logical, all scientific.
Yes, it all tracks.
Yeah, this is science, people.
It is science. Come on,
get with the program. That brings us to Ignatius Donnelly, who was a Minnesotan congressman who believed several of the same theories as Blavatsky. And granted, he lived a while ago as well, but he seemed to take a little bit more of a scientific angle rather than the spiritual aspects that Blavatsky kind of preached.
I think if you believe in Atlantis, you don't get to run for Congress.
That's kind of also what I think.
Yeah, just a thought, just throwing it out there.
Maybe congressmen should not believe in insane conspiracy theories.
Yeah. That would take
out like half of our congressmen.
That was like the time that I was voting for like Utah treasurer or something. I don't know. It was one of those, ballots where it's like these kind of smaller positions that you don't really know that much about anyway, and there was like an option for like two people to be treasurer, and one of them, I'm looking on his website and I scroll and I literally find out that he's a fucking Holocaust denier. I was like, what the hell?
Are you kidding me?
Also, like, I mean, thank you for putting this on your website, so I know you're a psychopath, but like, why is this on your website to be treasurer?
Oh my god.
What?
Yeah. That's crazy. Anyway, Minnesota congressman who believed several of the same theories. He published several books about Atlantis, and he believed that Plato was correct in his original description of Atlantis, and that it was destroyed in the biblical flood, which, like, I don't know what that timeline looks like to him, because the biblical flood would have been, like, real early on, I think, but I don't know. I assume this man didn't have all of it there, so
probably not.
He kind of just morphed everything into how he felt.
Yeah.
Anyway, This, of course, continued the colonial tradition of thinking that cultures that are different from yours can't function on their own and could never have had the advancements that they did without the help of some secret society. Again, very Ancient Aliens-esque. Our friend Donnelly here died in 1901, so he was around that same time period as Blavatsky. Now, it goes without saying that race science like this was used very negatively in the past and continues to influence the far right and neo-Nazi circles this day. I know, crazy, right? People taking bad science and using it to further their racist ideals?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, can't believe.
On July 1st of 1935, Heinrich Himmler met other SS officers to discuss beginning archaeological digs, so Nazi digs.
Nazi digs. Oh, no.
The Nazis wanted to find proof of the Aryan race and their superiority over other races through the remains of the ancient Aryans.
I wonder what they found.
Atlanteans.
Wonder how that went.
Spoiler, they didn't find anything.
What?
So they just made it up. They just made up what they found. They just misrepresented things.
Yeah, they fucking lied.
They fucking lied. Crazy. I know. Nazis lying about things? Nazis not being ethical? Weird. The group's name would eventually land on it's Anerby or something like that. Ahnenerbe.
All right.
Anerby, something like that.
Never
Say it
heard
with a
of it.
German accent. Which translates in German loosely to that which is inherited from our forefathers. So, kind of on the nose there. The Nazis did digs and oftentimes would warp the evidence and present the false facts of the digs in a misleading manner.
It's like if you literally have to make shit up about the science that you're trying to do, and like I know they're Nazis, so obviously there's not like logic, but it's just like, wouldn't you be like, hey, maybe what we're doing is fucking wrong?
Yeah.
Like the fact that we have to lie, we're trying to find evidence to back this up, and then we didn't, and so let's just lie about it.
Yeah, it's like that thing where like I like heard something recently, but it was like when you have like an ideology that you then like you like believe in it, and then you then try to like put the pieces together or like put the facts in place as to why you believe it.
Yeah.
Instead of like following the facts to land on what your ideology is, you know?
Right.
It's like that. They just wanted to like vindicate themselves in their atrocious acts.
Very much so.
The current president was Herman Wirth at that time, but he actually was removed after Hitler spoke negatively about him and actually thought that his beliefs in Atlantis were inaccurate, which again, if I had to guess, was probably Hitler trying to like save face and look less insane to the rest of the world, being like, oh yeah, we're looking for Atlantis. But yeah, the quest and the obsession with esoteric history and archaeology led some of the Nazis to explore Tibet as well as Antarctica for signs of the supposed master race that Atlantis once homed. Antarctica is like a whole other rabbit hole. Like there's a ton of fucking Antarctica conspiracy theories. Like it's crazy.
It's true. People do have a lot of weird thoughts about Antarctica. And I'm like, leave it alone.
It's just fucking snow
Let
and
it be.
Penguins, right? Do
Yeah.
they live there?
Ice.
Yeah. Polar bears,
It's
maybe.
okay.
Yeah, just let it vibe.
Let Antarctica be what Antarctica wants to be.
Let her live.
Let her live.
Himmler used research, quote unquote, from archaeologist Herbert Jenken as rationale to purge homosexuals in Nazi Germany.
Oh no.
Jenken believed that homosexuality was a disease that could be spread in male circles and other places where men bonded, like men bonding areas, as they said. This of course led Himmler to imprison 1,500 gay men and place them in concentration camps, where nearly 60% of them did pass away.
Yeah.
So very sad.
Yeah.
I know. Nazis, not sick. Many German educational and fiction stories taught children about the master race and where it came from. One notable example is the science fiction series Sunkoh, Sunkoh, which has quotes like, "My forefathers were Aryan," and in a story about Atlantis, it reads, If our Atlantis once again rises out of the sea, then we will get from there the blonde, steel-hard men with the pure blood, and will create with them the master race, which will finally rule the earth."
What a great material for a child to be reading.
True. Very lovely that children were reading and, absorbing this.
Yeah. Also sounds so fucking boring.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would be like, okay, can I read a book about, like, a farm or something?
Yeah, like something cool.
Something, like, nice.
Like a pig and a spider.
Yeah,
and a farm.
little, like, dog going on an adventure.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mommy, why do I have to read about the master race? Can I just have, like, a normal book, please?
Mom. Oh, yeah. No, and again, it was in some educational materials as well.
Of course it fucking was.
It's, they taught it as fact that Aryans were the master race.
Right.
So, very cool.
Right.
Though I couldn't find any direct ties from Blavatsky to Hitler, per se. I don't think it's a stretch to see how the ideology of root races, either directly or through, like, cultural osmosis, influenced what would become the most known ethnic cleansing of our time.
Right.
I think it's a prime example that no matter how docile and a belief can be when you, like, first come up with it, it can have ripples that affect the entire rest of history.
Exactly. And this is why, like, Ancient Aliens, as silly and goofy and funny as it is, and there's the guy with the big hair being like, little aliens, it's like, you cannot put this show on something called the History Channel.
Literally.
With zero rebuttal. You just let these people fucking go off and be like, aliens did it. And it's like, yeah, it's funny, it's fun, but at the end of the day, it's not, because there's people that are going to believe it and then lead to them having horrible racist beliefs against.
Yeah, and it's like, who knows where that's going to, like, land. Again,
exactly.
I don't think Blavatsky was, like, again, particularly more racist than anybody else in her time. She invented this whole system that obviously had an impact on what happened in Nazi Germany.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is why you don't let fucking Eric Daniken publish some bullshit ass book.
Yeah. Again, that's why we need people to just throw bricks in people's faces when they're up to some fuck shit.
I mean,
that's always been my political position. The FBI,
throw a brick.
Federal bricking something. I don't know. Institution, and you just, someone says some fuck shit, you hit them with a brick.
Brick them.
Yeah, brick them immediately.
Brick them young.
Brick them young. Spare the spare the brick, spoil the child. I think it says that in the Bible somewhere. So yeah, no ideology exists in a vacuum, and who's to say what can happen to the ideology as it grows and gets passed along? Himmler wasn't the only fascist to be enthralled by the ideas of Atlantis set forth by Blavatsky. Julius Evola supported the fascist rise in Italy and heavily believed in and spread ideas of Atlantis and the master race. Evola took an interpretation of Aryans as meaning nobility and, like, royalty, and I think that's because Italians weren't white back then. Like, they were considered not, like, proper English,
Right.
Mussolini adopted his views as well, stating that Italy's civilization is Aryan, as a direct quote from him. Evola died in 1974, but his legacy has lived on. The Greek neo-Nazi party Golden Dawn has Evola on their reading list. And Steve Bannon, huge fan of Steve Bannon, fucking far-right neo-Nazi, calls Evola an a
Oh, well, of course he does.
Of course, yeah.
Wow.
And that's just, Steve Bannon, he's like a political guy. He's just a normal, not normal. He lives in our time, he's just
right. Yeah.
fully endorsing to his followers, I suppose,
exactly
fascist rhetoric about Atlantis.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, sick. This brings us to modern times. Graham Hancock is a pseudoscientist and researcher who on November 10th, 2022, released a Netflix series titled Ancient Apocalypse.
Ooh.
Yeah. Graham Hancock, notably, is not an archaeologist, and the Society for American Archaeology actually had this to say about his docuseries.
Ooh, yay.
They said that it devalues the archaeological profession on the basis of false claims and disinformation, repeatedly and vigorously dismisses archaeologists and the practice of archaeology with aggressive rhetoric, willfully seeking to cause harm to our membership and to our profession in the public eye. The theory it presents has long-standing association with racist, white supremacist ideologies, does injustice to the indigenous peoples, and emboldens extremists.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And it's
beautiful.
Basically the whole thing. He might not say Atlantis or say like all the weird like race science stuff, but it's the same thing. There was a lost ancient civilization that came and helped all these other places do their thing. Like,
exactly.
It's the same shit. And
Yep.
again, that's the YouTuber I was talking about, Mini Minuteman Man or whatever. He like has a whole, it's like a 3-part series where he just debunks everything that he says. But again, that's the thing is like took him, 3 2-hour-long YouTube videos to debunk.
Because the mountain of shit that he has to dig through to be like, okay, everything this guy is saying is bullshit.
Yeah, and here's why. And
exactly.
Like, and he really gets into it too, like all of the like weird claims and all this shit. So
Damn.
I would highly suggest.
I will have to watch.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
It's good. It's a good one. The Society for American Archaeology also requested to have Netflix recategorize it as science fiction, which I think is fucking hilarious.
That's so great. That's so great.
And yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, like kind of what you were saying with like, how did the Egyptians track the pyramids to the stars or whatever? He'd say the same thing, like, oh, all these shacks that were built by this ancient civilization were directly pointing at this star, and it's like, who would have taught them how to do that? And
how
it's like,
could they have ever?
They might just have known how to do that.
It's so like, I don't know. It's just so funny that they're so mad that like people of color or not from Europe could have possibly like done this level of accomplishment, that they have to come up with all this crazy shit about fucking Atlantis and like reincarnated souls of the Aryan people, instead of just being like, wow, isn't it cool how the Mayans created these giant head things?
Crazy that the Mayans were able to do
that.
Neat?
Yeah,
it's really cool of them. Yeah,
it's like, no, it had to be Atlantis reincarnating its souls into these master root races. Like, Jesus Christ.
No, and it's wild because it's like, I feel like when you like first hear about Atlantis as like a kid, they're like, oh, this city underwater that like is got this crazy fish people in it.
I'm like, let's play Atlantis in the pool.
Exactly.
My tail is purple sparkles.
Yeah, exactly. I won't play mermaids and we'll film Atlantis.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, there's like, I don't know. It's funny because there's like so much like racism behind it.
Right. And you have no idea when you're like 12 and you're like, Atlantis, neat.
I know, when you're like a kid and you saw Atlantis SquarePants on fucking SpongeBob that episode, and you're like, whoa, this is crazy. But anyway, yeah. So the exact same stuff that we've been talking about this whole time. Doesn't include the race science and that the Nazis were touting, of course, but it devalues ancient cultures by framing them as too stupid to do things without the help of the lost advanced civilization. So 100 years, and we're still dealing with the same conspiracy fucking terrible archaeology that we once were.
Pretty crazy how we have been able to just keep things going.
It's insane.
Like it's like still like Atlantis theories exist, and it was like back in fucking Helena Blavatsky times. It's like, dude, can we come up with something new?
It's
fresh?
The same thing that I was saying. Like, in the docuseries, he like makes it such a point to be like, mainstream archaeology doesn't want you to know this and this, and it's like, you're on Netflix, my guy, like, and you're blatantly misrepresenting things. Like, you're mainstream.
Like Ben Shapiro and people like that will always be talking about like, oh, mainstream this, mainstream that. And it's like, you are literally mainstream.
You are the mainstream.
You know who's not mainstream? Me and Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, that's called not mainstream. You have like 40,000 viewers a day.
The fucking, what's Ben Shapiro's podcast? The Daily Wire or whatever? Like, I think he's like the 4th biggest podcast on Apple Podcasts.
What makes you think that you are an underground fucking little gumshoe, ear to the wall kind of guy at all?
It just helps their fucking, like, their perception of themselves as like this.
Exactly.
Fucking... these martyrs of like, oh, like we're persecuted because we're right wing.
We're telling the truth.
The Gen Z, they're all liberal and they all think that gays should be able to get married.
Right, exactly.
Wham.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, that's what I wrote about Atlantis.
Wow.
Again, I didn't even get into like all the, because it didn't really fit this one, but like Antarctica has some crazy shit.
Yeah, that would be interesting to hear.
And it's not even like always, I mean, some of it's political shit, but like some of it's just like,
you're like
batshit crazy.
What the hell?
Like, people think that like the Nazis had a base in Antarctica and that's where they were like hiding after the war and shit. I
feel like that's like a part in like a Captain America movie or something.
Probably.
It's been a very long time since I've watched a Marvel movie because I don't want to subject myself to that, but yeah.
True. Because they're bad.
Because they're really bad. And also military propaganda.
True.
So
yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of crazy shit with Antarctica. Or like, because there was that like treaty about Antarctica. About Antarctica that like a bunch of countries signed to basically say like this is off limits, like it's just for research purposes, like no one's gonna conquer Antarctica.
Which good. Let's make that treaty about more stuff.
Yeah, let's just do that more.
Let's not conquer things.
People have like all these fucking crazy conspiracy theories about why they did that. They're like, there's something there, you know.
Of course, it's the edge of the earth.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because
the flat earthers. It's the wall, the ice wall.
Yes, exactly.
That's why you
spoken
can't
about
pass
on
it.
previous episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah, it really is very crazy how many like conspiracy theories that are pretty popular still to this day that you can trace back to this type of shit, like lizard people and things like that. Like it all has roots in this kind of shit, which like you were saying, it's just crazy how long this stuff has persisted.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's weird because I feel like at a certain point when you like go down the conspiracy, like the red pill fucking rabbit hole, you know, like it all just kind of blends together. Like,
no, exactly.
You're like lizard people, the Illuminati, fucking Atlantis,
cabals.
Cabals and the deep state and fucking flat earth and then anti-vax. It's
like it all just converges into this like disgusting weird goo, and then it like
becomes weird new
racism.
Age as well. Always, like I don't know why it always gets tied back to new age shit.
Always these like people that are like fucking wearing 30 different necklaces and they're like, oh my god, I was vibrating today and I saw a cloud in the sky and that cloud was actually a UFO from my home planet with the Pleiadians because I'm a star seed.
Yeah, exactly.
And
of course.
Someday we'll talk about some starseed shit.
Yeah.
And someday we also need to talk about the Anunnaki, which is another weird, fake, made-up old race of people.
It's so
that someone was going off about. One
right?
day.
Like you would think with like, you know, the rise of like crystal girlies and stuff that like they're usually like more liberal, but it's like if you go far enough. It's kind of how like if you go far enough left, you get your guns back. It's like if you go spiritual enough, you go like you land back in fascism.
Your racism back.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's very strange because you want to like you see those girls and you're like, oh my god, she seems so great, and then all of a sudden she's like, have you heard about Atlantis?
Like I'm actually an Atlantean is reincarnated in me, and I'm like an Aryan princess boss queen, and so I think that I'm the most spiritually evolved. And so you want to buy some of my crystals?
And you're like, I was just looking for some lapis lazuli, but I'm gonna go. I think.
You're like, I was just walking around fucking Liberty Park, so.
God, that is a Liberty Park person.
Drum circle every week, dude.
Oh God. Yeah, we should interview some people at Drum Circle one
That
time.
would be interesting.
I'd love to know what goes on.
Yeah, like why are you here? You know, what is the appeal? Like,
yeah.
Because to me, it just feels like a bunch of loud banging noises and
which
weed.
Could be,
but
like, sure, why not? Go ahead, live your life. But yeah, it's a mark of summertime when you can, like, down the street, it's like doof, 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 and you're like, oh, that's back.
Drum circle's
here. It's warm out again. Yay!
For the non-Utah
okay.
folks, there's a park where every Sunday there's people who get together and
they do drum circle.
They drum in a circle, I suppose.
And they smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah, no, the cops bust it like all the time.
Yes.
Like they walk around during drum circle because they know.
Learn your lesson.
You would think, but
smoke before you get there, maybe.
Yeah, or
smoke
like
in the car.
Do it in a not public park. Like,
I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's big enough. But...
For me, I say it should absolutely be legal. However, if you continue to bring weed to this drum circle at a public park, you probably will get busted.
And fuck the cops who are busting people.
Absolutely, because it's stupid. Literally, all they're doing is sitting there playing a drum. It bothers no one.
It's truly
they're
not
perfectly
that big of a
fine
deal.
people.
It's not a big deal.
It's really not.
I understand.
Oh, funny.
Anyway, we should probably wrap this up.
We should.
Well, cool.
Oh man.
Plug action.
Let's plug it
P-zone.
up. Yeah. Pisley Zone. Well, follow us on Instagram at Remarks Podcast. Look at some photos of some shit that we will post.
Yes. Follow our Twitter. I actually deleted Twitter to save my sanity a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I get that.
But I will probably just open up the Remarks Twitter. But it's at Remarks Pod. So you can do that. Do you want to plug your personals?
Sure. My personal Twitter is at Phoebes Elise. Is that it?
I think it
is. Yeah, that's what it is. If it's not, oh well. I think I'm funny on there. I'm definitely not posting as much as I used to because x.com has become a bit of a cesspool. But whatever. If you want to read my funny tweets, read my funny tweets. And see pictures of my cute dog. And also, I would love for you to mention yours, but be sure to check out our back catalog of all of our episodes because we have a shit ton, and I have been listening to them personally, and I think they're funny and interesting, so you should listen to those. If you are like, finished this one, you finished the one from 2 weeks ago, and you're like, I'm hankering for a new ep, guess what? There's so many.
Check Apple Podcasts if you have an iPhone. I know Spotify right now doesn't have the back catalog. I'm still figuring things out with our new podcast distributor.
Yes.
But I'll get those up. And then you can always go to Podbean and listen to them there as well, podbean.com, which is who's distributing us currently. And my personal Instagram is T_lace19 or T_lace_19, something like that. Try a few things.
You'll find it.
But you can also find my music at Taylor Lacey. It's folk music.
It's good. If you enjoy the shit that we talk about, you'll enjoy Taylor's music.
And then I guess one other thing I can plug is I do some creative writing as well. So you can follow my Substack, which is just Taylor Lacey on there as well.
Yeah, you should also check that out.
I like to write little horror stories.
They're fun. They're good.
It's fun. But anyway.
We have fun here.
We like to do things.
Well, you guys, thank you for coming back for another episode. We'll hit you again in 2 weeks to give us some time.
It takes a lot of research to do this.
It's a lot of work, okay? Start your own podcast.
Do it.
Anyway, actually do. We would listen.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, and
love you. Bye.